Shut up and sit down.
What's happening, guys? This is the Takeover Tuesday show. My name is Carlos Redlick, and I got David Allen on the other side. What's happening, David?
Hey, Carlos. Another Monday. We're recording here for Takeover Tuesday. It's actually a Lundi Gras here in New Orleans, which is a big part of Carnival, as they say. So we have Adil Amarsi, copywriter extraordinaire from the UK, on the show today, and he is on the line. Adil, how are you, brother?
Hey, dude, I'm good. Thanks for having me, Carlos. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Excellent.
to meet you, man.
Awesome stuff.
So let's just dig right into it. Let's start with Adil. Just get a little backstory for people who may not know you. You know, how you got into copywriting, and sort of just give us the Cole's Notes version all the way up to today.
Okay, cool. I thought you were going to ask me, how did you get into stripping? I was like, who told you that? No, I'm
We were
just
going to
kidding.
save that for the end.
You're not allowed to know that part. That's for the raw extra footage. Or diamond
That's for
encrusted
Takeover
masterpiece.
Tuesday after hours.
That would be quite cool. So for the people that are out there that don't know who I actually am, so I've been writing copy. Well, I'll give you the full story. So I started out when I was 5 years old. My dad was paralyzed from like the waist down. And for like the ages 5 to 7, which are the most influential years of any kid, really, because like really secures who you are as a person. I basically spent 2 hours a day, about 5 to 6 days a week for 2 years, watching Billy Mays pitch on TV because my dad was like a huge fan of this guy, and I didn't know. It was like either that or I go and run around for a little bit, and I don't get to watch cartoons. And I was like, I'll sit with my dad, watch some whatever he's watching, then go watch cartoons afterwards because that's the only way I can do this. So for 2 years, I had like this weird, unknown selling ability given to me. I was like, all right, cool, this is fun. Because it used to let me play with games, like video games. Like my mom would be on. Like I found out how to get my mom to always say yes to let me play video games. And I was like, yay! So this is good. Then when I was 12, my teachers sat my parents down and told them that your son writes really, really slowly. He's too much of a perfectionist. He needs to get better at writing. And so my dad used to take me to his office. My dad could walk again at this point. He used to take me to his office, and I used to spend about an hour after school writing, like every day, just stories, just whatever it was, anything I could get my hands on, I'd write. And I kept this practice up for about 14 and a half years now, where I write one thing every day. And it just turned out that a lot of the stuff that I was writing about, because I went off and did other things, like I did Thai boxing and all the other fun stuff that, you know, a teenager does. And then when I was 18, I started my first business, and I failed horribly. My dad said, why don't you try this copywriting thing? I blatantly ignored my dad because rebellious teen. And it just happens. And two entrepreneurs sat me down and said, "What are you really good at?" I was like, "I'm shit at getting people to come to my website. But I'm amazing at getting them to say yes to buy stuff." He goes, "Oh, so you're a copywriter then?" I was like, "All right, there's a word again. I'm gonna go find out what this is." Call my dad. Dad, what's a copywriter? He goes, "Well, the reason we want you to be a copywriter is because when you were younger, like when you used to come into the office and spend hours with us until like you were 14." We didn't tell you this, but we used to run a lot of we used to take a lot of your actual copy and take it down to our guys in the mailing room and get them to mail your stuff. They just used to clean up the grammar, add a headline and a pitch at the end. I was like, no way. I was like, where's my commission? To which my dad turned around and said, do you want a beating or no? To which I was like, all right, I'll stick with no commission. It's fine. But we're good here. Just essentially. I'm just teasing. My dad actually was quite cool about stuff. But yeah, that's how I got into it when I was 18. And like I've written every day since I was 12. So when people go, how long have you been writing copy? I'm like 14 and a half years now, but professionally for 8 and almost 9 now. Yeah, so that's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
That's great, man. And so currently you're copywriting, you have your own agency, is that right?
Yeah, we're building the agency up right now. Like the main reason for the actual need for an agency came last year when I started to kind of get bored of writing for the same stuff, and then I started like getting clients from outside the usual avenues. Because a lot of the time I got hired to write like online copy for like different companies, like health, dating, wealth creation stuff. And now I'm kind of like working more towards stuff that's offline, like dentists and skincare companies and shit like that. So it's quite fun. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on this one? Not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Oh, cool. Because I've been holding back this entire time, getting like swear. I'm like, don't think. I'm British. We swear way more than you guys do, right?
Yeah, no, make it happen, Captain. You got it.
Cool. So yeah, pretty much, no, dude, that's literally all it is. It's just added an agency to make sure that we can actually handle the workflow because it's been insane. And then we have like quiet periods post everything, like everything. You have like a really busy period and then a quiet period.
Well, you know what? I'd love to ask you because it's pretty badass that you've actually been in the game a lot longer than a lot of people. A lot of people before you even knew you were really in the game. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
what are kind of some of the things that you've noted? No, I can't even talk now. Just some of the things that have stuck out over all the years that you've been doing this that really boost conversions. Is there anything that's just kind of across the board? Maybe a couple
Oh
things,
hell
two,
yeah.
three things. Like, do
Oh
this,
yeah.
and man, you just boost conversions.
Oh, dude, there's loads, but I'll narrow it down. And just an FYI, my awesomeness is that great. I made him lose his speech, ladies and gentlemen. I retire on this. I retire on that one phrase. But realistically, no. Just go back to answering your question.
Shit, this guy's been nailing since he was a fucking kid.
You guys should just quit right now. You know, just call it
Yeah,
Halbert's.
so it's gonna
Like,
hang my
I've,
towel up. Hang it up, man.
I've already told Bond Halbert this. Like when I interviewed him like ages ago, I said to him, Bond, like, you do know I'm going after your dad's throne, right? He goes, "What do you mean? Your dad may have said he was the greatest, but I'm dethroning him because I've had it a lot longer than he has." And it was, "Go for it, man. Let's see what you got." I was like, that's kind of cool that you're not even like even slightly interested. You're just like, yeah, go see what you can do. Go do. Be amazing. Go do that. But I'll say,
Go be
as far as
amazing. Go crush it.
so as far as it goes with like copywriting and the few things I've seen that really stick out, there's one thing that David, you know for a fact, I harp on about this because it's the one thing that really works for me. Well, that's two things really. One, a lot of people still don't know how to fucking close because they pussyfoot around when it comes down to the actual fucking close. Like, how do you not get someone to say yes? I was like, you build me up, you get me going, and now what? It's essentially I'm gonna use sex as a reference here because that's really what it is. It's like you've done the kissing, you've done the courting, the kissing, the foreplay. It's time for you to go ahead and actually take action, kind of have like your little cake as well, and you go to sleep. You go to sleep before you even do anything. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Seriously, the girl's gonna look at you going like, dude, or if the guy's gonna look at you going like, what happened right now? Where'd the shit
Right.
go? It's basically a total. It's a boner killer. That's what it is. If you can't close, you're killing boners essentially. Stop killing boners. They're worth humanity's survival. I have no idea what I'm on about right now, but still. Um, so I'm just gonna say is that pretty much so like the closing. The worst part is people don't know how to actually engage the closing element, and it's something that I have a checklist that I actually created and released really that was about how to go ahead and close, but that relates to point two in a moment. So the actual thing of closing, as a tidbit to anyone's going out there, is a real tip, really, is once you've actually introduced everything and you've done your testimonials, here's how you start that fucking conversation. It's simply this. Here's what you do next. And then tell them. They click on a button, do they call you?
Do this, motherfucker.
Literally, I'm not even kidding. Like in one of my sales letters, the guarantee to it was it's like you got a year long to do this. If you cannot write one good letter based on what I told you, I don't want your fucking money. Here, take it back. I don't want it. You need the money more than I do. Clearly, you need the money more than I do, because if you can't close, you're not going to get any money, and you're not going to get any sales or any people sign up to you. And by the way, if you're like, I'm a great close on the phone, but I can't write it, transcribe it, motherfucker. Transcribe. Rev.com exists for this one reason. Go ahead and do that. It's an easy way. So start the conversation like, here's what you do next. Then tell them. For me, it'd be like, here's what you do next. Click the order button below. You'll be taken to our secure checkout form. And by the way, anyone that's listening to this, feel free to use this, including my famous 4 words that I actually throw in, which I'll explain in a minute. Here's what you do. Click the button. You'll be taken to a secure checkout page. Once you're there, all you have to do is, here's the 4-word phrase, everyone. Enter your regular details and complete the order. And that works like gold. The reason you use those 4 words is a psychological gambit that like we tested and it's like boosted. We've had like 25 to 37% conversion rate boost, like boosting our conversion rate based on those 4 words. Reason being, enter, subliminal, like just a straight command. You're speaking to them. Regular.
Could you just say those 4 words again, just in case anybody misses it and they're too lazy to fucking go back?
Enter your regular details. So you got enter, which is all about command, your, them, regular. I've done this before, even though I've never done it before. It's a little psychological gambit. Details, could be anything. Credit card, name and email address. Shit they usually do on my social security form. Could be anything that you ask on there. It's details to them. So in their mind, subconsciously, she's like, oh yeah, this is just like normal rinse and repeat stuff I do all the time. It's okay, it's on hand, da da da. It's a little gambit that just works all the time. So there you go. 4 little word clothes that adds to the rest of here's what you do next. I'm gonna jump
That's
straight to point.
great.
I'm gonna jump to point two, and we'll continue on. The reason is because this one is the biggest reason, really, more than anything. Everyone sucks at structure. Like no one really understands structure anymore. I mean, there's a few. I've seen you guys, right? And you kind of do get that, which is amazing, which is like well ahead of everyone else. But for the people that are listening out there, structure is everything. Okay, it's like if I gave you a recipe for a goddamn cake, you're not going to put the ingredients in the wrong order and expect it to taste amazing. I mean, if you do,
Right.
congratulations, you made like an amazing cake and you're a genius for that and a savant, but still, it's very unlikely. Same with copywriting. There is a literal formula in how things should go. And like when you go ahead and start a goddamn paragraph, when you start a headline, when you ask for money, when you give them testimonials, bonuses, and everything else. And it's something that we've like refined over the last, God, how many, like 6 years that we've been looking at this thing and just refining it constantly just to make sure we have this exact thing. Because when I first wrote a sales letter, it was messy and I couldn't spell for shit. Then I learned how to spell properly and started writing properly and stuff. And then eventually I was like, I wonder why my sales letters are doing so well. Because at the time I was charging like $750 for a sales letter that would bring in like $2 million. So I was like,
Jeez.
I'm like, dude, I'm getting screwed right now, like so badly. How do I charge more money? So I spoke to someone about how to charge more money, and now I charge a shitload more money. Yay. But the problem was, I was like, why am I like able to compete with guys that are charging $10,000 and above and kicking their asses with something I've written? And I looked at the structure. I was like, that's the only defining factor. I mean, our words are almost similar, the way that we're selling, tonality, everything is like almost on par. But the difference is I had structure and they were just kind of like putting stuff in different places and tweaking it. And I was like, that does not make sense to me. It has to be in a structure. And by the way, I've written this out. I'm not going to go through all 15 points of the structure because we'll be here for an hour and then you guys will be like, bitch, shit, we'll ask you some other questions. What the shit? But it really is just all about structure. If you can get that right, I guarantee you that'll actually start giving you a higher boost in conversion rate. And then you add in a way of actually closing, you got more stuff happening. It's really that's all it is. It's just like a cycle. It just keeps going. You have good structure and you're asking for money. What could go wrong?
Exactly. Carlos, what have you found? Do you stick to a structure? You have a template or something that you
I don't have well, what one of the things that was actually going to kind of be my question. When you say structure, what do you mean? Is it kind of the structure of how the sentences are arranged, like how many lines is it, or do you mean structure like it's story, intro, guarantees, stuff like that?
More stuff like that. It's kind of like to give you guys an example. It's depending on how they come in. There's like two different ways. It's like pre-headline or headline, sub-headline, opening paragraph, and then your introduction to self to how you actually came up to product and problem, and then how you solve said problem, and yada yada yada. It's like the entire way through to like where to put your bonuses, where to put your guarantees, when to ask for orders, when to put your testimonials in. So it's kind of like it's just literally bullet pointed out, and I use this myself. So I've like posted it right now just on my wall somewhere. I need to freaking find it. I've got like a Joker photo in front of me, so I'm just like, is it in this room or is it in the other room?
Yeah. That's sick. No, but you know what? That's good because a lot of people forget that. I can definitely agree with that because when you have that, I mean, it's already proven, right? I mean, it's already a guaranteed kind of structure, and a lot of people are trying to reinvent the wheel when you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. You just kind of need to follow what the fuck works. You know what I mean? So, I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that you kind of harp on that really shows, I think, you can kind of separate, I would say, like the veterans from kind of the newbies because they kind of know what we're. A lot of it comes down to fundamentals. You know what I mean? Like you have your structure that you're harping on, but a lot of people be like, "Oh, okay, well, fuck this. Like I got this other cool thing that I'm doing, and I'm gonna add this into my copy." But is the structure there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was Eugene Swartz in that Rodale speech, or whatever he gave, that I've seen a bunch of times, where he talked about it's not really copy's not written, it's assembled.
Yeah. It's like basically IKEA furniture because it's a pain in the ass to put together, but when it's put together, it looks quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start a course called IKEA copywriting just for the shits of it. Just like what do you do? We just assemble your copy for you. Why? Because it's frustrating as hell.
That's
Exactly.
too funny. So what would be maybe the top 3 tips you would give to somebody who's just starting their website? Because I know we've got a mixed audience here, but I know there's also people who are kind of on like the beginning phases of everything, and they're like, all right, so I've got my landing page, and they're in the direct response world, and maybe they've got a info product and stuff. What would you say, at least let's say a top 3 landing page conversions that you would say, this is what you got to do to give you your best foot forward, you know?
Damn, seriously, I literally made a video about this like last week. I'm actually releasing
Did you
another one
really? Well,
tonight.
hey,
Yeah,
link it up. Well, link it
yeah,
up in
dude.
here.
Yeah, definitely, I will do. But I'll tell you what, it's just simple. It's not like I won't. I'll do one better. I'll give you guys like I think it's like the top 5 things that you need for a high converting landing page, including a little thing that hardly anyone's doing but really works. I'm like, why aren't you guys doing this? And it's simply
Yeah.
this. And again, I go in structure formats, so like we assemble shit. Essentially, you've got your headline, which is beneficial to the one problem solution, which is like don't try and solve like a million problems with your giveaway, by the way. Solve it with one thing. So it's kind of an instance of give me a market, just any market right now. All right, fitness. Let's say people that can't put on weight. Um, discover how, like, do you struggle to put on weight? If so, read this. If so, do whatever. It's just a really, really bad headline. I know I'm just kind of like spitballing here, but that's kind of like the call out is do you have a problem with X? If so, read on because of Y. And then underneath it, you have like your subheadline, which is just a direct thing to tell them. So it's like enter your email address or your name and email address in the box below to go ahead and get instant access to this complimentary compact guide to help you dot dot dot. And then you have like on the left hand side, you split the screen. So you have like a bullet point side and an opt-in. On the bullet point side, you just list like 3 to 5 bullet points about what your actual giveaway is. On the right, you got your opt-in with an image of your actual said giveaway above the opt-in. So you got like your email address, form that says give me your email address in here. It's also got a picture, like a tiny picture of what they're getting. It just anchors in physicality that they're receiving something. It's just a mental little thing that works. Now, here's the one trick that most people kind of miss out on, and I've seen them start doing it more now, which is great, but they never used to, and I'm sure you've seen this. It's adding a testimonial beneath that bit of copy. And it's always a testimonial for, like, if you don't have a testimonial for the giveaway because you've not given it away to anyone yet and this is a new offer, get a character reference. That's what I usually do. Like, that's how you, like, overcome the testimonial barrier, because I know that some people are brand new, like, dude, I don't have a name in anything. It's just something I'm interested in. What do I do? Get a character reference from someone that you know. Like, for instance, David, for instance, or even Carlos, they might say something really, really nice. And be like, yeah, I'll give Adil a testimonial in the sense of Adil is quite funny and we get on, but he actually knows his shit about what he's doing. I can take that and put that on that landing page. And even though the first bit is about who I am as an I'm funny and I understand some things, just that latter part, like he knows some things. Just that small little bit there will actually increase your conversion rate on your landing page. Now, are we talking more for blog landing pages or product landing pages?
No, that was on the money. I think we were talking about just like product landing pages, not blogs, but that's huge. I like that. I'm gonna actually now insert a couple testimonials on a few landing pages now that you just said that, because that's something I totally forgot about myself. And it's so fucking simple, you know what I mean? That's huge.
Definitely. It's essentially just trust. That's what you want people to do, is trust you. And like, we forget so much as copywriters, direct response people, and business people that when we're selling someone, the key issue is they have to know you, like you, and the last part, trust you. And if they've just landed on your landing page, they don't know you, they don't like you, and they sure as hell don't trust you. But they might go, this person has a solution, and now that testimonial kind of bumps them towards the whole, I trust this person. Other people trust them, so I have to trust them. It's tiny little things. Tiny things, what was it called? Small hinges move big doors. That's like one of my favorite sayings. It's true.
That's huge. It works so well. I remember seeing on all those late night commercials where they would say, get this penis pill. Over 1 billion people have already bought it. It must work, right? Or some shit like that.
Yeah.
That's
or
a
why
nice subtle way.
everybody's buying it if it didn't work? I was like,
Man,
that's awesome. That right there sells it, I bet.
Dude, Joe Rogan has the funniest bit on that about like penis enlargement pills. If you ever get a chance, just look that up. You would laugh for ages. But speaking of which, something that I do want to like harp on about, because I'm a stickler for this. No, could we just retire this now? 100,000 people can't be wrong. Yes, they can. Okay, look
Yeah,
at history. Look at history. It's literally people that were just wrong. Just a
yeah,
key example here. How many Germans were alive during the Third Reich?
Right.
Could you imagine writing a direct response ad just selling like Hugo Boss army uniforms back then? It's like, a million German soldiers can't be right, can't be wrong, can they? Yes, they actually can. Sorry to my
yeah.
German friends, but I'm using this as an example because it's true. And Hugo Boss can suck it, but I do like their suit. They're quite nice, to be honest. They're quite fashionable. I can't help but look at something and go, that's not pretty when it is.
That's too funny. Hey, where are you from again? Where are you living? Where are you from? Is it where you're from? Did you
No,
move?
actually, dude, I moved to England when I was like 4 years old. I'm originally from Tanzania, from like Africa and stuff. That's right, people.
Oh
I'm from
shit,
the jungle.
badass. Hey, he's exotic, guys. Hire him just because he's exotic. He must be expensive.
Ladies, take
Well,
note.
yeah, exactly. Well, there's
Ladies, take.
another reason I like the word exotic. It's because I'm brown. Yeah, I'm like kiwi fruit, essentially. I'm brown, a little hairy, sweet on the inside. It happens. Sorry, I'm stealing that joke from another friend of mine, so sorry, Dino Bidala, don't kill me.
That's too funny. That just made him famous.
Oh, dude's already
Good
famous. He's
stuff.
like hilarious. He's a New Jersey comic. He's half Italian, half Palestinian, I think. But he's just hilarious. He's so funny.
That's
But back to what I was
funny.
saying. So I now live in London. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in a town like 200 miles away in a place called Leicester. Seta? What the shit am I on about? It's a place called Leicester. Really nice, though it's been spoiled for me since I've lived in London because I go back and I'm like, I've seen everything here in a day. I'm bored. Take me back to London. Why? There's so much shit to do here. Because like where I live I live in the center of London, like the pretty much I live in like Mayfair
Must be
Soho
beautiful
area.
over there. I've never been to London. I got to go over there.
Dude, get your ass over to London, both of you.
I'll
We'll hang
have
out.
to. Yeah,
We'll
good
do a
point.
live podcast here.
I'll be
That would
coming
be
there.
sweet.
I'll be coming there in 2017, I think.
Why 2017? What the shit? You
Well,
got like
I got a plan, so I have be over there for something else. So,
all right, all right.
yeah,
Yeah, you better not forget me. You better
I
not
won't.
forget
Yeah,
me.
I gotta get a
Just
fucking passport. That's what I gotta do. I gotta get a passport this week. Now that we're harping on that, or else I can't
seriously,
go anywhere.
seriously,
Can't
Carlos, you
even go
don't
to
have a
fucking
fucking
Canada and come
passport.
back.
Yeah, he's
We're not.
American. He's American, Adil.
I don't. Okay, here's the shit, right? I'm not anyone that can get their passport and has less trouble than I have. Because I'm like I've been waiting 2 years, by the way.
Oh,
At this
really?
point, it's been 2 years. I'm waiting for my goddamn passport to come back. I don't know what I did or said.
That's
Probably
crazy.
I pissed someone off. I'm sure I pissed someone off. I shouldn't. It's like, do these weight loss pills work? Sure, of course they do.
Of
And you
course they
found
do.
out.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. some guy, some guy in the passport office can't get it up, and he's got a vendetta.
He's just blaming me. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I know that name.
That's too funny. Hey, another quick question. Who would you, if dead or alive, who would you have? Who would you want to have dinner with or lunch with? Who would you want to pick their brain and hang out with?
Okay, are we talking like business or non-business?
Doesn't matter.
And what timeline are we looking at? Because there's so many people I want to talk to that are dead, but
You got to pick one person that's. If you had the opportunity right now, you could just yank them from the dead or fucking yank them from wherever they are having lunch right now, and be like, "Bitch, we're fucking sitting down having lunch." Who would it be?
Muhammad Ali, 1972 Muhammad Ali. That's what I'd like to
Oh,
talk to.
badass. Why is that?
Main reason, he was the first that fucking understood how to brand himself in masses when he had everything against him. He had a mental toughness that no one else had. The motherfucker could move and looked good when he did it. And more importantly, seriously, who else goes around saying, I'm the greatest in the world, and then just proves it repeatedly?
Yeah, and then really is.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I stole that from him by actually, using one of my URLs, which I'll tell you guys afterwards when we're off there. Simply because I don't want to like put everyone else off by saying it, so I'm gonna wait till later on because it's just a little fun game that I like to have. But seriously, like Ali would be the one guy I sit down and talk to and have like lunch and dinner with because like seriously, I grew up idolizing the guy. And little known fact, he was one of the few people that actually got me out of my depression. Like when I was 16, like after my fourth suicide attempt, he was one of the guys who his biography helped me out to realize that shit isn't as bad as I thought it was. So that's what I would
Wow.
do. How about you guys? Who would you guys sit down and have dinner with? I'm curious.
Oh, me, I like Bruce Lee, but
Ooh,
not for any
why?
martial art reasons. Very similar reasons to kind of what you said. He had a lot of people don't know this, but one, he had a gun on him, so everybody was like, Bruce Lee was like this fucking. Bruce Lee used to carry like a 45 and shit, so he would shoot you like if you fucked with him. You know what I mean? So okay, so anyway, like, and then another thing is he had a big ass library, and a lot of the books in there were sales oriented. Napoleon Hill's shit was in there. He was basically like he could probably kick it in an internet marketing circle and be like, "Yo, so I'm selling this fucking thing called Jeet Kune Do, guys. It's pretty
Yeah,
badass." Yeah, like you know what I
you
mean.
probably could.
So
And then he goes, if you don't buy it, I'll kick your ass. How about that?
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so for me, I would love to go ahead, sit down with him, not talk to him about martial art, but talk to him about his perspective, I guess, on sales, marketing, and what he's doing, what he thinks is like the top. Just kind of have a little podcast kick it session with him.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be freaking sweet. What about you, David? Who you got?
Uh, well, I'm in a couple sort of diverse circles, but since we're on this sort of business podcast, I would have really like. I kind of missed the boat on this one because I got into this stuff really late. But I would really like to have met or sit down with Gary Halbert.
Ah, dude, the man himself.
Yeah, because he really sold me on a bodybuilding course back when I was like 18 or 19. I can still remember like waiting for that package to arrive and like reading over those bullets and being like, man, I can't wait for this shit to get here. And then later, like 10 years later, I found out that
I
he wrote
never
that.
did.
I was
I
like,
still like.
yeah, I was like, wow, I can't believe I bought that shit because Gary Halbert sold me on it. I was like, man, that guy's fucking genius. And I didn't know anything about him right when I found out that's who wrote it, and then I later found out, of course, that he was a genius. So yeah, I'd love.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's
I
that's pretty
thought
awesome.
I had. What happened?
No, that's pretty awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I had a similar experience with I don't know if it was John Carlton who wrote it or what, but I purchased one of the I think TRS Direct. They had a bunch of martial art and basically how to kill you DVDs, and I just thought that was so cool when I was younger. So
Matt
I
Fury.
fucking went. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it
Matt
wasn't Matt.
Fury.
Yeah, but it wasn't Matt Fury. It was this guy. I
Probably
can't remember
Carlton,
his
to be
name, but
fair.
he would hire people. He would whatever. It was just a bunch of crazy shit. So anyway, I purchased one of these fucking DVDs like how to assassinate somebody or some shit, and I just thought it was so badass because later on I discovered John Carlton, or I guess people who ripped off John Carlton or his underlings or whoever wrote those sales letters, and I was like, oh fuck, John Carlton sold my ass. And I went back to the
That's
letter that sold me, and I realized that letter was like a fucking 20-page letter. I'm like, oh shit, there's no way I read this at that age. How did that happen? This shit does work. It worked on me.
I'll say
Yeah,
this much. There is one thing that I'm actually scared about, or why I didn't say Gary Halbert, by the way. I'd love to have lunch with him. I really would, if he was still alive. There's only one problem. I don't think our egos will be able to sit in a room comfortably. It would just be
yeah.
like, "Sup, old man? Coming for your title." And he'd just look at me and go, "Oh, I'll beat you down. You do know that." I was like, "Bring it on. Let's see what happens." It would literally just be like Clint Eastwood versus like, I don't know, some person that tries to replace Clint Eastwood. And I'd get my ass handed to me, essentially. So I don't think my ego could handle that. So I'd have to be like, I'll be humble and shit, but whatever.
That's funny.
He just
That's
sounded
funny.
like a wild man, so I just like that.
Yeah, that's good shit. Well, hey man, so how can people follow you, buy your shit if you got stuff to sell? How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, best thing to do is head on over to my site, which is just my name. So it's Adil Amarsi. That's Adil Amarsi. To my American friends, think of Advil, take away the V, and then add my surname, and then put a .com at the end, and you got my site. Also, by the way, quick side note, I actually have been biting on Advil for a while, so I'm like, how do we say your name? It's like it's Advil minus the V because I actually take away the pain of your marketing problems. Go
Oh,
buy
that's
my
fucking.
shit.
I
So,
love it. Too
so
funny.
go check it out. I think on the homepage, there's like I'm redoing the homepage again because I was like, oh, whatever. I did this really, really quickly. I can do a better job when I've got time. But we're giving away the 15-point checklist, which is essentially just it's a 3-page PDF that we've put together that is just all about getting you, whoever it is that's checking it out, like how to go ahead and create the structure of a sales letter without any explanation because we explain that in the post email sequence because why the fuck not? I mean, I don't want to burden you down with a 17-page, well, not even 17-page, 170-page manual and a shitload of DVDs and stuff. When I'm like, you're never going to read these. Just go read the fucking page. Go to the page, read it, look through your shit, understand what's going on, and then if you want to learn how to write it, there's some shit you can buy later on from me. But for now, just get your structure correct. All right, let's do that. But that's pretty much that's where you guys can find me. Obviously, my blog's on there, and hit me up and stuff. Pretty easy to find.
Dude, that was awesome. I really appreciate it, and I totally agree. I think the checklist is so much better than a fucking 100-page report filled with fluff. Way better to just cut all that shit out, narrow it down to exactly what you need, and then just fucking, take care of that shit, So, hey, dude, I really appreciate it. I know, David, you probably want to say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Adil. It's been a real pleasure. Nice talking to you again, of course. It's been a while. And, yeah, this has been great. You really gave some good stuff for our listeners here today.
I'm glad. Guys, thank you for having me on the show again. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. We'd also like to thank Ben Sound of bensound.com. And this is kind of funny, actually. I'm going to add this to this podcast because I was listening to podcasts the other day, and I guess Kevin Rogers of Copy Chief, he uses this same music to start his podcast. So
that's so funny.
So in the future, we might have different music, or we might just keep it. I don't know. But we find Ben Sound at bensound.com because he's the guy that came up with it. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week on Takeover Tuesday.
Ciao.
Awesome. Cool.